Melanie, I'm glad you're here today.
Thank you.
There are so many musicians out there who suffer all kinds of physical and emotional disabilities, and so many of them become discouraged and give up.
Yes.
And as a result, they never play again, they never fulfill their dreams, and they think it's impossible. So the reason that we're doing this, and I'm so appreciative of your doing it, is that I want people to know two or three things. One is I want them to know that simply because you have a problem, physical or emotional or whatever, that there is hope and there is a way to get back or forward to where you want to go in music. Secondly, I think it is also likely, which you reminded me the other day, that so many musicians just don't know that there are people available.
Correct.
And I've been rather, I guess, reluctant in letting the word out that there are people like myself who are capable of working with musicians and moving them forward to where they want to be, regardless of what's going on.
Yes.
Now, unfortunately, last year ago, we tried to video this when you were having the major trouble, and for some reason it didn't work.
Right.
So what I'm going to ask you to do, if you would please, is to go back at the beginning
Okay.
and tell the folks just very briefly and quickly why you had a problem to start with and how that affected your trumpet playing, and then how it was affecting you when I saw you at the retreat a year ago on the Outer Banks.
Okay, well, 4 years ago I had surgery to remove my right temporal lobe due to epilepsy. I was having a minimum of 3 to 5 seizures a week prior to my surgery. And they removed 5.34 centimeters of my right side. And it's affected everything from memory to emotions, everything. And one of the things I did after my surgery was pick up my trumpet again that I'd put down for 12 years because I wanted something to stimulate my brain, but found it was a lot tougher to get to where I used to play. And emotionally this was very tough. I wanted to move forward. Plus I used to be a nurse and I'd given up that already because the memory wasn't where I wanted it to be. And emotionally, it was just very tough to not feel successful at anything.
All right, for now, for people that do not understand all of what you're talking about a part of the brain, first of all, that's on the right side of the brain.
Yes.
And we know that the right side of the brain controls the left side of the body.
Yes.
And we know that the temporal lobe has a great deal to do with timing and coordination, the word temporal itself meaning time. And so everything that related to time was really a problem.
Yes.
And also for those who don't know, which you do as a nurse, that when they cut your head open, it's very difficult not to damage other things.
Correct.
Because you have bleeding and you have swelling and you have anesthesia and you have the recovery. And many things contribute to things you have to overcome in rehabilitation.
Yes.
So you're very fortunate, you know that.
I do.
Because many persons that have that sort of surgery are not able to bounce back the way you did.
I realize that, yeah.
Yes, but furthermore, the other thing that they may not realize is that when playing a musical instrument, it requires a tremendous amount of coordination.
Yes.
And so the brain is thinking about how the fingers move, how the eyes move, how the lips move, the tongue moves, how the breathing. So it isn't just a one singular act. It's a whole combination of things that you were going to put back together. And you hadn't done this before the surgery.
No.
So you chose this as a way of rehabilitation.
I did.
What did you find? How did it go?
That it was a lot harder, but I didn't realize it was because of the surgery. But it was hard to keep the internal rhythm the same, and it was a lot tougher to coordinate the tongue with the brain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So then last year, how was it when you came to the retreat?
It was excellent once meeting you because you pointed out that these were things I needed to work on, and showed me exercises to help improve it.
Okay, so the first thing is you really did accept the fact that there was something wrong.
Correct. And I didn't know the extent of which my brain had been affected timing wise, and that had never been pointed out to me before. So I couldn't figure out why it was so difficult.
Well, this is one of the real problems, Melanie, as you know, being a nurse, that people who do not accept the extent and the nature of their disability rarely ever succeed in overcoming it because they aren't working within reality.
That's right.
So once you recognize that, yes, this is something I have to have help doing,
Yes.
then we were able to attack it and to change it.
And it felt like I had the support and somebody who actually understood what I was going through, because I was up against people that were just expecting me to bounce back. And the reality is, when you've had that much of your brain removed, you don't just bounce back.
Correct. And we didn't know what parts other than the temporal lobe had been damaged in the process.
Yes.
And never will know that.
No.
We don't know how much was damaged with the multiple seizures prior.
Yes.
You were having, these were grand mal, were they?
They were complex partial.
Complex partial seizures, and you were having 3 to 5 a week.
Minimum, yes. Yeah. Some
And-
weeks more. So.
Okay, and sometimes I think I remember you're saying that they cause physical problems?
I was just tired all the time. I had to sleep, and I had 2 young kids, one who was a baby. I couldn't take care of them because I needed to sleep. And I was working on survival mode and not able to care for them like they needed to be, so I had to hire help.
Okay.
And
Now,
emotionally, that was tough.
What about oppositional movement? Because I recall when I saw you that one of the first things I was teaching you to do is literally how to walk.
Yes.
How to move your feet and your arms so that they were oppositional, because you were doing this rather than this, and your eyes were unable to focus on this side and then this side. They were focused in one place, and so you were having difficulty with timing because you weren't able to follow with the brain as the movement of the music would go back and forth.
Correct. And yeah, you taught me to challenge the brain by moving oppositionally.
Precisely. And what did that do?
It improved my timing immensely and made me able to follow the beat a lot better, and able to sight read easier, and just the knowledge that the rhythm and timing was an issue opened up my eyes to everything. And working on the coordination more, that type of thing, just completely changed my playing to the point where my teacher can't believe I'm the same player I was last year. I've changed that much.
Very good, very good. One of the things I recalled was the degree that the whole group at the retreat, they marveled at the fact that here is a woman that had temporal lobe of her brain removed and could play trumpet at all.
Yeah.
At all. And then after working together for the week, I recall at the end of it when Pat and the others were filming it, and that no one could believe you were doing what you were doing, saying, I hope we're getting this on film, I hope we're getting this on, and of course we didn't.
We didn't.
But now we're trying to recapture a little of that feeling.
Right.
But what was it like then after 3 or 4 days in terms of the way you felt and the process you learned and so on?
It gave me the confidence to know that I can do it. I just have to realize there are different obstacles I will have to overcome with help, and that it will take time and patience.
Did it change things physically?
Yes, my coordination has improved. That's really the only physical thing. Just otherwise, the timing and that seems different.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so now this year we've gone to another level.
Yes.
Your playing is very good. Your coordination's much, much better. Your timing is very, very much better. So now we've gone to another level, and we're using now a process that is known as EMDR. And this is a matter of working with eyes. And we're utilizing a new method that causes your brain to activate according to a new neurological pattern. And by using EMDR, which people can become acquainted with, and it is done by professionals, psychologists, psychiatrists, and physical therapists and others use EMDR as a method for retraining the brain.
Mm-hmm.
And it's used also, believe it or not, in emotional things like for PTSD, because in that state of eye movement desensitization, they take them back to the time of their trauma and resolve it in that space,
Mm-hmm.
and then move forward. Now, what we're doing with it for you is we're reprogramming the neurological process of the brain so that the left side is going to learn everything that the right side used to know.
Yes. And I didn't realize, it makes sense, but that the right side, I really do need to retrain it. You know, that, and the left side, because the left side still assumes the right side's there.
Exactly, exactly. And we know in neurological literature, the plasticity of the brain, meaning the brain is capable of regrowing.
Yes.
And we know that people have had one whole side of their brain taken out, a hemispherectomy, and the other side has learned what that side knew, and they function as if they have both sides.
Yes.
So that's what we're working on now. So that's the exciting thing we're going to do this week.
I'm excited.
Okay. Melanie, one of the things that I want to be sure to do is to show that you can play again.
Okay.
And last year, when I saw you, one of the real problems was that you were having trouble fingering.
Yes.
And it was because of the coordination,
Correct.
moving those fingers. So, and there was no way a year ago that you could have used your left hand.
No.
There's just no possibility. So I want you to play the scale using your left hand.
Okay.
Can you play a little song using your left hand? Just to show the coordination now. Wait a minute. The coordination, see, of brain, fingers, thought, tonguing, wind.
The whole bit.
Yeah, this is all a brain process, but it's using something that a year ago was not there. Beautiful, beautiful, and beautiful tone.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Now do it with your right hand and put some feeling in it. Beautiful, excellent. Now the great thing is that a year ago you couldn't do it.
No, couldn't use my left hand.
If this doesn't give people out there hope, that whatever the problem, and you know the kinds of problems that we see, or that I see and that work with.
Well, and a lot of it is emotional and psychological problems.
Yes, it is.
And your own confidence in your own abilities. And
That's right.
what has changed for me.
Yes. Well, it's beautiful.
Thank
Anything else you want to say?
Just thank you so much for changing my life, because you've made me see my disability through a different lens, to realize that I do need help, and with work and persistence it will pay off.
Yeah, but you know what? You're the one that's done it.
Yes, but
And all of a sudden, you brought on board all these other people that are helping you. You've got trumpet teachers that are helping you,
Yes.
musicians, schools, universities. Everyone has realized how much you've overcome.
Yes, and will
And
overcome.
They're amazed at it, and they're so glad.
Yes.
Thanks so much, Melanie.
Thank you.